these people who committed all these crimes, they're all juveniles. And it's just crazy to see that.
I think they should be punished, but they cannot be punished alongside adults.
Yep.
The question is, what is acceptable horsing around in school? What is acceptable behavior in school? And what crosses the line into this is wrong, you will be punished?
I think that should come into a question of discussion before it's too late. Hi, welcome back to another episode of Are We OK Season 2. Together with myself, Peter.
Hi, and I'm Rajiv.
All right. So,
And we are back after like 2 weeks off the air, but it's good to be back recording again.
that's right.
How are you doing, Peter? How's the last 2 weeks been for you?
Oh, last 2 weeks has been quite havoc. My kid went to the hospital for a while for minor surgery. So I had to
definitely scary
cancel
as a
that
parent.
one. Yeah, actually it was a very minor thing. It's known kind of stuff lah. So it's just that it happened that day. Okay lah, masuk lah. Then it took off for quite a while. Yeah. So what about yourself, Ben?
Yeah, I was free that week that you had to cancel for your kid's surgery. But no, it's totally understandable. I mean, I'm a father to 3 kids. I would have done the same thing myself. But then last week I was in Japan. I was in Osaka for a week. And that was quite a good experience. In fact, I'm going to write up quite a long piece of my trip there. So maybe in the next week or so, I'll share that. I think about 10 lessons to learn from Japan that we could implement here.
I see. Were you there for business or travel?
I was there for work. We went to 4 of us from Selangor. We went to see the World Expo, and so the World Expo happens once in 5 years, and this time is in Osaka. And every country opens like a booth, a pavilion. The booth is maybe under describing it, is much bigger.
Yep, pavilion.
Big pavilions where they showcase successes and whatnot. And so it's a chance to see what's happening around the world. In fact, some of the larger companies also open booths, and so it gives you like a lot of exposure in one big arena. And so it was quite a hefty walk around the arena, but also a lot of good, interesting exposures that I will definitely write about it.
Right.
I will definitely within the next 1 or 2 weeks pen those thoughts down from my Google Keep into some article to share that with my leadership in Selangor as well as with the general public.
That's fun.
Yeah,
Looking forward to hear more about it.
Indeed. So, this week we have come back to a lot of political hot news. Things are developing. So, what's the biggest thing that jumped up at you, in this last few days?
Definitely this morning I woke up and one thing immediately I read was one Saiful and one Faizal's case under Bersatu, where one Saiful got sacked and one Faizal got suspended.
Yeah,
so that caught the headline.
That definitely is huge headlines. Definitely worthy to be the headlines. So looks like Bersatu's internal war is not ending from the few weeks ago that we have been talking about it, since Muhyiddin got kind of heckled in the last AGM.
That's right.
This witch hunt and this hunt to find the people that was out to bring down Muhyiddin.
Yeah.
Looks like it's reached a pinnacle where someone has been fired and someone suspended.
People have to take responsibility of gathering the SDs. That's from what I read so far.
So what do you what do you think of this development? Do you think Bersatu is moving in the right direction?
I think for Bersatu-wise, as a leader, he is trying his best to establish his, I am still active as a tiger there. Don't come and catch out me, right?
Yeah.
But my personal thought also is this, right? Is it really them, or are they maybe being a proxy of someone else? Because there were a lot of questions like when they were trying to push Muhyiddin down, it was more about other people having a possibility of being the president, and I don't recall one Saiful or one Faizal being the nominated name on the table.
Yeah.
So here's the question.
That definitely one Saiful and one Faizal was never going to be the president of Bersatu. Right. The next 2 closest people will be Hamza and Azmin.
That's right.
No one else comes close.
So are they a proxy on the chopping table, or are they really?
So definitely any strong leader will have sidekicks to carry out this kind of job. Not the strong leader themselves carry out the job. If you are the next president in waiting, you definitely have 5 to 10 sidekicks. And these 5 to 10 sidekicks will do the dirty work, like collecting SDs or whatever press conferences that it's part of your strategy, but you have to have sidekicks, and your sidekicks do the job lah.
Right.
So
right.
this is not surprising, and well, because the one who dirtied his hands may be the first one to get cut off, and it's also easier to cut off someone not as high rank as Hamza.
That's right.
You can't cut off your deputy.
It's also not so divisive, right? In that
not
sense.
so divisive, yes.
Yeah.
So it's something that maybe Muhyiddin feels he needs to do to preserve his position, but I feel Muhyiddin needs to focus on the bigger threat to his position. The bigger threat is not from within. The bigger threat is from outside. His relationship with Perikatan, his relationship with PAS, because PAS has clearly rejected him in their muktamar. So, you want to clean house, you go ahead, clean house lah. It's your internal party, and in fact, I think all your opponents, including PAS, celebrate your internal war. But hey, not just talking about Harapan, you're talking about even I think PAS is like quite happy to eat popcorn and watch. Okay lah, you kill yourself inside. Makes it easier for PAS to take over. Makes it easier for PAS to put, okay, you know what, we'll put forward our Prime Minister candidate. So I think this is where Muhyiddin is missed the mark. I mean, he did say more than a month ago that within a week from the PAS Muktamar that, they will sort it out in terms of this Prime Ministerial candidate.
Yep.
It's been more than a month since the PAS Muktamar, and they still not had any announcement, any meeting, any negotiations, nothing has come to light. And so this doesn't bode well for Muhyiddin's future. It doesn't bode well for Perikatan overall, but now Muhyiddin is taking actions like this to save his political position. But I think he's missing the mark. He's missing the bigger mark. Yeah. So I think that's something that they need to be mindful of if they want to move forward successfully. But if not, means maybe this is the one-term wonder for Bersatu, and then game over in the next election.
Well, there could be a chance. Do you think you should have taken a page out of maybe say Zahid's playbook, where working with someone else to let other people be the lead, and you take a step back and say, okay, you take a lead, but at least I preserve a certain amount of dignity and position?
It takes quite a bit of ego to do that, and it's something that we haven't seen Muhyiddin being ready to do. He has never given any indication that he's willing to play second fiddle to PAS. But I think if he plays second fiddle to PAS, it also confirms that Perikatan will go nowhere. Because once PAS is on the driver's seat again, 20% of the country loves PAS, 50% of the country is scared shit of PAS, and then you cannot win. You cannot win anything.
There'll be a very strong opposition.
The ceramah is going to be so straightforward in the next election. You want PAS to be the Prime Minister? Really? So it's not going to be easy for them.
Right.
All right. So that I think Anwar has a brighter future for his second term at the way things are going the last 2 months. Okay, so moving on. Sabah. After a lot of speculation for the last few months, finally the Chief Minister has dissolved the State Assembly.
Yes.
And we are now headed to elections, I think, in a month's time. Election Commission hasn't announced the dates yet as of today's recording. But we will know very soon when is the election. And it looks like a lot of things are unraveling in Sabah. So have you been keeping up with the news, Peter?
No, unfortunately, I haven't been keeping up with the news in detail, but definitely one of the headlines that popped up to me was Sabah side got a resignation by Frankie, right?
Yes. So
would you like to tell us more about it? Because
Yes.
that's within your party, right?
Come. Now DAP has been...
Got inside scoop.
Inside scoop. It's not that inside scoop, but this is something that happens. You always have renewal. Frankie was the former champion for a short period of time. But since then, it has been taken over by Ginger and a relatively newer, younger team. In fact, most of the Sabah leadership is around our age. Actually, it's one of the youngest state leaderships within the AP. And it always comes with the challenge of renewal, because at some point you're going to say that, is it time to replace incumbent assemblyman? How many terms is too long before we say let's move on? So when Frankie was moved on from being the chairman and Ginger took over from being the chairman, I think it was also not so surprising that also means his retirement is there.
Yes.
And that also means that he will not be fielded again as a candidate in the next election, which is now.
Yep.
And I think because Frankie has gotten enough indication that he will not be fielded again, one of the face-saving ways out of the situation is I step back.
Right.
Or I resign. Or I voice my unhappiness at how things are moving. And yes, as of today, leaders of 6 branches of DAP in Sandakan have resigned together with Frankie. And this is not surprising because for any leader, I mean, we're talking about state leader like Frankie, you climb up to be state chairman, you definitely have a lot of followers.
Yeah.
You definitely have your kaki lah.
Yeah.
And your kaki is your kaki because they support you. I mean, whatever your idealism in the last 20 years of politics, whatever you've been championing for and all that, these are the people that resonate well with you. And that's the reason that they joined DAP, they open branches, they serve the community under the DAP banner. And they are there because they are there to support you. In fact, a lot of political party branches are there to support a leader or the other.
That's right.
They're not just there as a neutral branch, totally neutral. It's rarer. It may exist here and there, but a lot of political actors are there to support a leader which they admire.
Yeah.
So when your leader that you admire says that I have to leave or I will be dropped, so I will resign before I'm dropped, naturally all your followers will go with you. To me, this is not the end of DAP. This does not reflect the sentiment on the ground because it's very different. The branches are there because they support the leader. But the general public is there whether they support the party or don't support the party. So I think based on all the indication, this was not going to affect DAP's support in Sandakan. So Frankie is based in Sandakan. I believe DAP will still prevail in Sandakan and will still do well. And I think overall in Sabah, DAP's presence in the urban areas will still hold strong.
Right.
Despite this resignation.
So I actually have 2 questions for you regarding that, right? Wouldn't it, number one, signal some sort of like disunity or like not that great transition, right? That's number one. Number 2, wouldn't it also like, because this is the time they need a lot of manpower, and when they signal that they resign, it trickles down to everyone got their own followers, so people are going to say, okay, we step away. Are they going to help the next new candidate, and who is the next new candidate? So these are the 2 questions mainly that I'm asking.
So the mainstream political parties like, not just DAP, PKR, PAS, Bersatu, UMNO, all the mainstream political parties, you have at least 5 candidates waiting for every seat. There's a steady stream. So I don't think we ever lack of talent.
So who do you think will be in?
Far from me to predict, to speculate who will take over. But there's enough in the pipeline. And everyone in the pipeline also has their own base of their own supporters of their own. So I think in terms of will the campaign be able to operate smoothly, I am confident. In cases like this, it can be done. It will be okay. I would say your second speculation is more correct. This is a transition that could have been handled better. I think this is where more softer negotiation could have started to say like, okay lah, we need to move on. So brother, how can we best do this? Like, sometimes when the incumbent, a very senior incumbent resigns, he's normally given the chance to nominate his successor. So by nominating his successor, one of his strongmen or someone who is genuinely capable, that could be a way to smoothen the transition. Rather than bringing in someone who's like from the maybe opposite side of the internal political divide. Also, other kinds of negotiation, like what are the way to announce it? How do we do a dinner to announce it? Do we make a simple announcement? But having different people have different preferences, so having that conversation and building that respect and trying to find a way to have a smooth transition is ideal, but sometimes not always possible to achieve.
That's right.
So I would say that it's unfortunate that they chose to end their political career on this note rather than ending it to say that, okay, I've served enough years as a DAP assemblyman, as in holding various portfolios in the Sabah government, and then now it's time for me to resign and hand over the reins to the next generation. That's one graceful one way to step out. Another way to step out is to say like, okay, I've lost confidence in the leadership, I resign. Which probably reflects what he really feels in his heart. Maybe, the transition negotiation didn't happen at all or didn't happen smoothly enough.
So question, because it seems like this kind of transition, right, seem to be something that is very common in many political parties.
Yeah.
Right? And especially when it comes to the older generation. Do you foresee that in future DAP will have a much smoother transition? Because our last host, right, Kian Ming, kind of did a very smooth transition, walked up gracefully, helped him to raise, everything all, and never ever mentioned and whatever not lah, right? But just
I mean, he had a smooth transition in Bangi, but not so smooth transition at the central level. He went out swinging with the former chairman.
Within his district, it was smooth. I was wondering to myself, right? Do you, as a DAP member yourself, do you foresee in future as the younger generation take over, there is going to be more smooth transition instead of this kind of more, because it looks like that is how Lok is trying to angle it in future with the last AGM and everything. He tried to make everything very smooth.
I think everyone always prefers a smooth transition when they can help it lah. But sometimes the differences are just too big or too difficult to overcome. Then you just have to bite the bullet. But I think everyone prefers a smooth transition if they can help it. It just reduces the ugliness before election lah. Because you will have to let go candidates. You will have to let go incumbents at every election. If not, there's no new blood. So you will have to let go, and in every let go is going to be painful.
Right.
And so the party also has to make judgment. Sometimes you cannot have a smooth negotiation if the guy is a hot potato. The minute you have a negotiation with him, he's going to blow it up in social media. Then you cannot negotiate with him.
Right.
If you believe he has a tendency to do that. But if you believe he can be respectful and and actually negotiate it, then negotiate. So like you see the former exco in Selangor that retired last round, his transition was very smooth in terms of he left the scene without kicking any fuss, and I think that was maybe an example of how to handle retirements, especially when the retirement is not
the way you
declared retirements. Sometimes when you yourself say, I really am done, I want to spend time with my grandkids, different story lah, then nothing to negotiate. But when you feel like you don't want to go out, but the party is like, excuse me, okay lah, I think you need to leave. This is always the difficulty.
Yep.
All right. So that's what happened in Sabah. I think on the big picture, the other problems, we still haven't seen the resolution of the BN and GRS finding common ground. And so probably GRS and BN will clash, even though both are not going to clash with Harapan. Looks like they're still on the path to clash, and looks like Anwar is still trying to bring them together so that they don't clash, but looks like inevitable that they will clash. Within GRS also, they are imploding because Jeffrey Kittingan is very unhappy that GRS is conceding to Harapan. He thinks Harapan from Peninsula is all evil, and Peninsula out to grab Sabah rights, but the Harapan in Sabah is also Sabahan, and they also are there as Sabahans. So this is something that GRS has to deal with lah. There's a falling out within GRS.
Do you think that narrative will sell in Sabah?
I think the narrative of Sabah for Sabahans definitely sells. I think that Sabah for Sabahans is probably a bit more healthy. What is going to be a bit more unhealthy is the Kadazans for Kadazans.
Right.
So the depends on how the split happens, and so this Kadazan for Kadazans may be a bit more unhealthy racial twist that could take place. Because if Jeffrey is going to lead another force against GRS, he may play this Kadazan for Kadazan game, and then all this talk about how Sabah is more racially in harmony compared to Semenanjung will all shatter lah.
Right.
Okay. So I think that's the political news. I mean, there was also MIC fighting with Zahid again, but that's old news lah. Looks like Zahid is really not taking seriously MCA and MIC's grouses. And we talked about whether they should leave or not. I think they should really consider lah. Although it's between the devil and the deep blue sea, both ways also you die. Too bad for you lah. Zahid once again has asserted that he said you are all upset because you're not given toys to play with. So I'm sorry lah. I think there's no turning back lah. I'm no looks down on you too much lah. You are never getting back in the game. So I think this is maybe the nail on the coffin for MCA and MIC lah when it comes to its relationship with UMNO.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we've got some political news out of the way, I think it's time we look at the big topic of the week, just as we have heard of the budget. So shall we take a short break and come back and talk about the budget 2026 that was just presented by Anwar?
All right.
So Peter, what did you think of the budget? Did you manage to follow it?
So the other day, our team actually stayed back in the office to actually follow the budget, take quite a lot of notes, come up with some content as well. I would say that it's a quite interesting budget.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So what particularly struck me, the first thing was when he mentioned that a big part of the budget, not big part lah, but he hinted that some of the money is coming from MACC and other government bodies seizing all the leakages.
Alright.
They managed to recover about 15.5 B or something like that, which make me think this is just the ones that's being seized.
Yes.
What about the ones not being seized? It means that we got a big bloody hole because we are talking about 5% of the overall budget, right?
Yeah.
Just from leakages. So maybe plus unseized one, easily estimate 10,
Maybe.
yeah, or 20%, right? So, yeah, this does build this theory that he might be able to pay for the budget without needing to broaden the tax base
Okay.
temporarily.
Temporarily. So did you find
The
any?
keyword is temporarily.
You find any relief that no new taxes was on the table?
Here is where I don't know whether should I agree or disagree. Di.
Okay. Tell me why do you agree or disagree?
Okay, well, it's nice that we don't see any big movement about taxes. Like, for example, the last round, they talked about capital gains tax and this and that. This time round, there don't seem to be any aggressive taxing towards the rich. But there's also a lot of goodies being given out towards the B40. And I would say this time for the M40, there's okay lah. You know, standard lah. You are a little bit of a forgotten child. Yeah. There's also a lot of talks about they're going to rebrand the whole B40, M40, T20 kan. Although we are still using those words.
Yeah.
But actually, officially, apparently, they already come up with a new
way to do it.
way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this gets me wonder, because as our expenses increase, you need to find a way to pay.
Yeah.
There's only that much you can take care of by plugging leaks.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking to me, the leak is 100%. lah.
Okay.
Right.
But I think we are plugging leaks of many years ago.
Correct.
We're not plugging leaks of last year.
That's right.
We're recollecting money back that was 10 years ago.
That's right.
leakages 10 years ago to use today.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the issue about plugging leaks is just like in life, you can only save money, you can only budget that much to save money.
Yeah.
You still need increased income.
You need to earn more.
So then here's the question.
Yes.
Where's your increased income coming in?
I think that brings into a point which I feel very strongly about. So a lot of the budget analysis focus a lot on the outcomes, the goodies lah.
Yes.
The housing, what happens, the transport, what happens, and healthcare, what happens. But I was looking at the numbers that, the revenue that is projected to come in next year, 343 billion ringgit. And if you compare that to the spending, so the spending is 421 billion ringgit. So there's always a deficit. For the last 20 years, we've always been running deficit budget. And the whole theory is that as you grow, it's okay lah. You're developing the country ma. So, but our OPEX is at 338 billion, just slightly less than our revenue. Basically, we are spending all of our revenue on our OPEX. That means as a country, your wiggle room is very, very small.
That's right.
Yeah, very, very small. If your revenue dips a little bit because of Trump does something crazy in the next few months, and then your revenue drips by 6-7 billion, you don't have enough to cover your OPEX.
That's right.
And we should only borrow for CAPEX. We shouldn't borrow to cover OPEX. That's a very, very bad practice to start. So I think this time to increase. It's not going to be popular to say this lah, but it's time to increase the revenue. 12.7% of GDP is our revenue. Our revenue is really, really small. Even other ASEAN countries are looking at 18 to 20%. European countries, 40%. Don't say like America, European, Australian, all closer to 40%. We are at 12.7%. If you collect so little, the government cannot move. So you look at healthcare, how to move. Your public hospitals are stuck in a rut. Your schools are unable to improve. Your university intake year in, year out, we face the same problem. We cannot grow our university capacity. We cannot increase the number of universities or the number of students per university, because all of these come back to public funds. And your OPEX is very constrained by your revenue. And if you don't grow your revenue, you can't grow all these services that are crucial for the country.
That's right. So there's this whole question out there right now that is floating around. That a lot of GLICs are a little bit worried that, does it mean that we are the ones who are gonna be squeezing out of our profit to give back, right?
But
so here's the question that a lot of people are asking also. And if that happens, then it's not very good for the stock market as well.
Well, you don't squeeze out the money from the company so directly, but all GLICs are supposed to pay dividends back to their shareholders.
That's right.
And so the government should collect dividends from these GLICs and all the GLCs, and the government should pump back this dividend back into the development of the country. So don't go and rape the company. Don't go and raid the company. Don't go and plunder the company's assets and threaten its viability. But all these companies must have a good dividend policy. And dividends must channel upwards. And so if they are 100% owned by the government, straightforward, 100% of the dividend goes to the government. But those public listed ones, then the dividends that go to the other shareholders should also go, but the dividends that go to the government must flow to the government. So I fully support their role through dividends, but not through raiding the company. Don't raid the company.
I agree that I think giving out dividend is a good thing, because when you give out dividend, I mean, a coffer is a little bit lesser, but it also forces the GLIC to exercise discipline. And so they'll grow in a more efficient manner rather than just being big and not lean, right? So that's one. On the other hand, also I can see how Anwar is playing his cards. One particular goodie that I like was he gave a double tax break for private companies who are giving out scholarships to eligible students. Although I still do not know what does it mean by eligible student, but I thought that was a very, very good idea. Because we were just talking about the whole issue about there's a lack of placement in tertiary education and so on and so forth. And he needs to solve this problem somehow.
So
but this is a hot potato, right? You can't not touch certain topics. But by doing this, it does provide temporary relief to the situation.
Indeed. So, I mean, I think there's 10,000 good ideas that always go into the budget mix, and the finance minister and the PM has to extract out which one do we do and which one do we let go, because we can't do everything. One of the other levers that he has at his disposal is the RON 95. So, after all the speculation, looks like the transition was much more smoother than anyone anticipated. No trouble at the pump. And the fact that every Malaysian got their 300 litres, great start. No one has to complain. But in terms of fiscal savings, I think as the months go by, they have to start putting in some controls. For example, those mahakaya, as Anwar would like to call them, have to start filtering out. Maybe those whose income is over 100,000 a month to be taken off, or those who are driving Mercedes, BMWs, or these be taken off the subsidy list. At some point, the rationalization of subsidies has to be a bit more than just foreigners. It has to come in, but this will provide a lot of savings to the subsidy bill, which will definitely help the government manage this very thin margin they have between revenue and OPEX. So what do you think? You think the people are prepared for scaling down the subsidy from all Malaysians to a smaller subset?
I was just with Kian Ming the other day, and we talked about this particular subject as well. I thought this time round, in terms of how they roll out the RON 95 one, I thought it was quite good. What do I mean by that is that the communication is handled pretty well. Yes, it is not a perfect plan, but I think at least he kept to his word that he's going to roll out on time. And this time around, yes, he just rolled it out like that. Now, number two, I think he's trying to work out a few things together. And I can see more and more of the image of Singapore in the way that he rolls things out. Like, for example, he started to set up the national ID thing, which this is the first beginning case of it. And with that, to actually get freelancers as well to put their records of payment there so that they have a national income kind of thing that allows them to take loan, right?
Yeah.
But with that in mind, it is actually a whole effort of trying to gather a more centralized database of income for the people, right? So I think it's just a matter of time that eventually they'll tighten it further, so that it will be less leakages.
Less subsidy.
Yeah, less subsidies that goes out. And he also signals it very clearly with, what do you call that? The Langkawi's case, right? Where you can't own 300,000
of the
above.
groundbreaking news.
Sorry, yeah, so that was quite interesting because a lot of rich people are go there and buy their car, stuff like that. Yeah, so but it's only pissing off a certain group of people.
A very small group.
Yeah, a very small group.
Very
People.
small group.
While at the same time, the general richer group who could also be, I mean, ultimately to campaign you need money lah. These people are very important people, right?
Yes.
And he's not really pissing them off in that sense, and still yet taking care of this group of people. So I can see that he's really treading on he's treading very carefully. And I would say that day by day, as we go by and we see all these kind of bigger announcements, it makes me think that he may have more things more well planned than we thought lah. So as much as there are bad things that we can say about it, but there are also quite a lot of good things that usually come out with that does practically go into the help of our financial pockets, right? What do I mean by that is that, like, if you look at during Najib's time, right, a lot more of the exercises were expected to trickle down, right? But in his case, quite a bit of it is really directly in your pocket kind. However, with that in mind, because I'm not a guy who likes payouts, I feel like all these kind of direct handouts, while it's good, but it cripples people over a long time, while it does help a certain marginal community, but for the general population, you're also instilling an idea that you have a subsidy mindset. So I'm not sure how sustainable is this.
I think subsidy mindset is one problem, especially when it's cash in your pocket every month. But when it comes to, say, this RON 95, if we cut back another 2 billion of subsidy spending on RON 95, let's say we take the next bracket of highest income earners out of the subsidy list, that money can be channeled into public transport, should be channeled into public transport, because we are so far away from growing public transport infrastructure in KL, Penang, JB, to be able to take people off cars and off the petrol usage and into a more sustainable transport movement within the city. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I don't mind if he cuts it back, but he must channel it then also to right causes. So, okay, maybe we should move on to what are some of the other things within the budget that jumped up at you that you're excited about, Peter?
I think number one is allowing us to buy medical and health insurance and takaful via the account Sejahtera.
All right.
I thought that was a brilliant idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, it models after how Singapore does it, where you have a MediSave.
Yes, it is definitely modeling that.
Or either you can use it to buy. Now, the key thing again in Malaysia is always execution.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that is here's where they have to really take care of how is it being executed, where insurance company also have to come up with a competitive product to be purchased via account Sejahtera, not some lousy product. At the end of the day, there's no point of me buying. Might as well I just buy the normal product. Because previously, a lot of these online products that were done by many insurance companies is more of a national service product, not really a product that is competitive enough.
So I think if I make it a bit more direct, what you're trying to say is, if you're selling a plan that has coverage that is too small to be functionable in a private hospital, then better don't sell it all.
Correct.
So your per night stay, your annual limit cannot be so small. If your annual limit is only 10,000 a year, you can't take it anywhere. Then better don't have it. Then you can probably take it for a very small treatment, but not more than 2 nights stay in the private hospital.
Correct.
So you might be better off not buying such a plan that you can't really use most of the time.
Yes.
So the plan must be usable, but I really look forward to the possibility that the plan will be on a AirAsia model. No frills, hospitalization plan where it's cheaper, but it still covers your medical treatment totally.
That's right.
So okay lah, share room lah. 4 people in one
Yeah, it's
one
okay.
room ward kind of situation in order to reduce in order to put in that condition to
Yeah.
bridge the gap. So be it, as long as you can still get your treatment. Because
That's right.
ultimately, if you have to walk out of the hospital without getting your treatment because the surgeon said that this is going to cost 70,000, but your coverage only 20,000, so better you go government hospital. Then
Yeah.
you're back to square one. Then you buy the cheap product with your EPF, also no point.
That's right.
Yeah, so I agree with you on that. So, okay, my turn. The next one I think that was very noticeable is the PTPTN travel restriction. So a lot of people got excited about this. And looking at my various community WhatsApp groups, people are excited about this. I think it's the hot on and off with this travel ban. It should come to an end. I think the move of the government is correct to start putting in these restrictions for people who can pay back but just don't want to pay back.
Yep.
So what do you think, Peter? Is it time that we those who took the loans to go study in either government uni or even in Taylor's, Monash, Sunway, should they not pay up?
I think they should pay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they should
you
pay.
borrow money, you should pay lah. Someone the interest rate is so low, it's 1% only,
Yeah. So
Hey, hello.
Yeah.
Pay lah.
maybe they're so financially smart, they're busy paying off their housing loan first. They are 4-point-something% before they pay off this one. But at 6,000 ringgit per month before the enforcement kicks in, I think that's a very, very generous buffer. I would have done
I think it's
4,000 and
fine.
above. I would have done 4,000 and above, but okay, 6,000 and above. If you have areas, then you get the travel ban. I think that's right. I hope the government doesn't flip-flop on this anymore. I know listeners out there, if you're one of those who have not paid, I hope you will start paying and doing your part. If you're earning 6,000 and above, clearly your education has helped you.
Yep.
So it's time to pay back so that the fund continues to move and revolve and,
That's right.
and fund the next generation.
Yeah. And it's
of
good
people.
also because now they make it where you get a first class, it is free again.
Only for low-income families.
Yeah, and only for low-income families. That is the best part that I like
Yeah.
because I feel like they are starting to really streamline a lot of kind of subsidies so that it becomes more tighter and really much more targeted towards low-income group rather than just a broad general subsidy for everyone.
Okay. And then moving on, another announcement that PM made in the budget speech is that e-hailing and p-hailing drivers are now EPF members, but under voluntary contribution. So government is giving them this incentive. The government will give you, government will top up your EPF if you contribute your EPF. So I think it's a good start for getting the awareness. Like, if I put in some money, government will top up some money. I think the limit for the government top up is 600 a year. It's in a way free money lah. So I would encourage all the e-hailing drivers to consider putting in some of your savings into EPF. Not only does it give you good returns every year, but government also tops up on top of it.
I would suggest government to take it one step further to make it mandatory.
Exactly. Now, to make it mandatory, I think with the rise of all the platforms, now a lot of these freelancers are on Grab, Foodpanda, in the platform. I think it's time to do what employees have to do. 11% of your platform earnings go into EPF straight away, automatically through the system.
That's right.
So you work only 500 ringgit a month because you're really, really part-time. Okay lah, just 11% of 500 ringgit.
Yeah.
You work full-time, you earn 6,000 a month on Grab. Okay, then 11% of 6,000 ringgit go into EPF.
Okay lah. Or if let's say don't want to say 11%, you come out with a separate scheme, a little bit lower lah.
Okay,
But
okay.
at least it should be something.
It should be mandatory.
Yes, because if not, as more people go into freelance, you are 100% depending on their ability to control themselves to save for future. If not, by the time you're 50 years old, 60 years old, it's going to be a huge burden for the government, man.
Indeed.
Yeah, and we already don't have enough young people.
Yeah.
It's going to be a social collapse, man.
Yeah. So those who are employees, okay, no choice. You have to do the savings. You got something. When you retire at 55, you got some amount of money because government forced you to save. But I think increasingly as people become YouTubers, when people work on all this gig economy, people are self-employed, doing insurance and whatnot, I think that's great. Creativity in the economy is great. Flexibility in the workplace is great. But this savings for the future is very, very important.
Yeah.
You don't have any national pension scheme. You're not going to, if you don't save, you are in trouble.
Correct.
And even as a state assemblyman in PJ, where half of my constituents are now senior citizens, there are a number of senior citizens who have come to me. They got no money. They cannot afford to rent their house. They have downgraded from renting a house to renting a room because their savings were inadequate to plan for their whole retirement.
That's right.
So, you know, maybe from the time you actually retire at 58 or 60 years old, you can last until 70 years old comfortably, but then after that, you're in trouble. And sometimes you don't fully expect the inflation to be within your reach. It may be higher than you expected at certain years, and it just throws your planning off. Or, you know, some other thing may have happened. You may have needed some medical attention or whatnot that it can throw things off. So
I think at minimal is to put it, you take say 5% and then put into KWSB account too, and then force them to buy some sort of national insurance. And even if you got no house to stay, at least if you go hospital, still can pay for bill.
Okay. So, you know, listeners out there, do you think we should make EPF contribution compulsory for everyone? I think, you know, share a comment whether you support that or not. Anything else, Peter, from the budget that you want to pick up on?
Nothing much. I think basically this budget is actually well measured. It's just that, it creates certain questions.
Okay.
But I can see, I think it's a smart budget.
All right.
I think it's a smart budget, especially for the place that it's coming from. And number two, also, I'm in all the startup groups, right?
Yeah.
When I see their comments, I can also see that for the startup groups, they're quite happy because they are doing a little bit here and there, quite some things to try to boost the AI economy, the startup economy, and so on, trying to get private companies to be involved.
Right.
So we can see that they are really trying to position Malaysia as a startup hub, right? And with the move of making Forest City, you know, all the family office kind of stuff. So can see they're trying very best to create some sort of infrastructure to allow money to flow in and to work better.
All right. I think maybe the last takeaway is to look at the signals, because as a political show, when is the next election? When is Anwar going to dissolve parliament? And I think the first signal is this rolling back of new taxation, which has always been a feature in his budget speeches before this, has come to a stop. I think then we are looking at the possibility of election coming within the next 12 months. And I think while the goodies were not rolled out as though it's election in the next 3 months, I think that gives him the space to feel bad for now, put you on a comfortable level playing field, and then maybe in 6 months' time, announce a few things to make the feel good factor. And I think it's very, very possible that the stage is being prepared in case he wants to call for elections by September, October next year.
I think he already got a lot of help from Sabah Sarawak. This time around also, Sabah Sarawak is one of the biggest winners of the whole budget.
Yeah. That one have to be, because Sabah elections around the corner. He needs to give a record high contribution of development funds to Sabah and Sarawak.
Good for them. Long overdue.
I think, I've not heard in various on the ground sources, people being upset at that. I think it's fair.
I think it's fair. Long overdue.
Yeah, I think that's fine. All right, Peter. So that's a good analysis of the budget. I think we still have a couple of issues that we should cover this episode. So maybe we take a break and we'll come back in a couple of minutes. Hi, welcome back to our third segment of this Are We Okay episode. So let's move on from the budget, other things that are happening and in the news lately. One of that really caught my attention is this touch and go, the multi-lane free flow.
Yes.
And oh my God, how many years has it been since we've been talking about this multi-lane free flow? And until today, we still have to line up and go through the toll barrier one by one. You know, the barrier have to open, close,
That's right.
open, close. No need to say wind down your window lah. I think a lot of us are using RFID or smart tag. We don't need to wind down the window, but we still go through the barrier.
That's
one
right.
by one. So Peter, do you get stuck in jams because of this?
Very often. And I tell you, the worst jam is actually the one where you come up from Sedang to PJ.
Okay. Sungai Besi.
The Sungai Besi toll. There was once I was stuck there for 2 hours.
Wow.
I had to stop my car. I stopped my car. I walked to the toilet and walked back.
Wow.
My car is still there.
Wow. That is something I've never experienced, thankfully. I always kena on NPE. And every time once you pass by, the toll is smooth. And it's very frustrating to know that the toll gate is the source of the traffic jam.
That's right.
And so what was in the news is Plus is having their system they're putting on trial. They call it the ANPR. And then Touch and Go also has their system putting on trial. The question is, why are we still trialing systems when other countries have demonstrated that this technology has been working for the last 20 years so well,
Go
so
Singapore
seamlessly? I mean, I didn't want to say Singapore again, then we seem like everything also compared to Singapore.
Sorry, I've never been to too many countries.
It's not just Singapore, but yeah, look at Singapore. The ERP has been there for more than 20 years and working so seamlessly, and cars just keep passing by without any slowdown whatsoever to collect toll. So, Peter, in your Mr. Money life, do you happen to have any insights as to why it's taking years and years and we still don't have it?
Yeah, actually what happened was some time ago I spoke to one of the players there.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't say the name.
Can't say the name, right? So I asked them, hey, why is this not happening? So they told me, this is how it works. The question is, who's going to pay for the infrastructure? Apparently, the infrastructure is not cheap. So to build that thing, like for example, RFID one,
correct,
to actually
your
detect the thing,
your equipment, your IT, your servers, backend, everything.
Yes, that itself takes quite a lot of infrastructure investment. So apparently, there's this whole argument on who's going to pay. Is it going to be Touch and Go paying? Because a lot of people say that, hey, Touch and Go, you should be the one building it. But Touch and Go argument is that, hey, I am just a software provider. I am not an infrastructure builder. Why are you asking me to pay for that whole boom gate, everything? Oh, that one is your highway one to build one. Shouldn't this be part of the thing? And then highway say it's like that. So everyone is having their own argument. So on the highway side say, hey, this is not part of my plan. So that's the issue.
I mean, of course, every company doesn't want to spend more money than it has to.
Correct.
But this is where the Minister of Works has to come in and, solve the problem. And I think even if we drag this issue another 10 more years, it won't automatically go away.
Yeah, it hasn't gone away for 10 years.
Because these financial arrangements between the payment collector, the infrastructure for the payment, and the highway companies have to be sorted out one way or the other. And even if the government runs away from it or kicks the can down the road, the difficulty of solving it will remain the same.
That's right.
I would urge the minister to stop kicking the can down the road. I think it's time to take the bull by the horns. All right? So Touch and Go already collects toll on behalf of the highway companies. I'm not sure if you remember those days, every highway company used to have their own payment system, right?
Yeah.
So now Touch and Go collects for everyone. Okay, good. Good business for them. And I'm sure Touch and Go gets a certain percentage commission for collecting it, and it's not quite disclosed. Now, Touch and Go clearly wants more money to collect using the multi-lane free flow. I think it's time to solve it. Does Touch and Go really need a higher commission to run it? And if so, government needs just to put their foot down and force the formula to work.
That's right.
Well, okay, extend another 1 year or 2 years of the concession agreement to compensate for the higher commission rate that the highway has to pay. So that's one way to move forward. Increase toll rate by 6 cents, 7 cents, 2 cents, whatever it takes to cover the commission. Right. But just do it so that we move forward, because we cannot be stuck with this current system for forever. The world is moving forward. It's time we move forward. And if this system that we have today is not causing any problems, then okay, maybe never mind. We still go through this manual payment. There's this barrier payment. But the barrier payment is causing us delays. It's causing us jams. And if we can cut down these jams, why wouldn't we do it?
That's right.
I'm frustrated. I really am. I think it's time that the Minister of Works brings both sides to the table. You've got a whole bunch of highway concessions on one side. You've got Plus and Touch and Go on the other side. Do a beauty contest. Find the system that works best. Price is one thing, but find the system that has no trouble, that really works well. You really need a solid system. You cannot have system glitching all over the place. Yeah. So between Plus and Touch and Go, you find the system that works best and solve the money problem.
That's right.
Whatever it is, you need to put a 2-cent surcharge, put a 2-cent surcharge and move on. If you need to extend their concession agreement by 6 months, 1 year, 2 years to compensate for the financial loss of this new system, do it. Yeah. As long as we move on and we move forward.
I'm pretty sure that if you go out there when they're having a jam, you put up a board and ask people, if you pay extra 10 cents, you can skip this whole jam. Will you do it? I think everyone will pay lah.
I mean, you already have to pay so much anyway.
Yeah,
Might
so
as
like
well
the
lah.
extra 10 cent, I save time. Because
Yeah.
time is money, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's time lah. It's time. And today in this show we are putting the challenge out to our works minister to really pick up this ball.
So here's the thing that actually I want to ask you, for someone who's in the party, someone who's in the government, right? What do you think is the challenge of government that they do not want to put their foot down? Because from how I see it is that whoever minister who managed to make this happen, it's going to be a landmark transformation. It's going to be a good, it's going to be a very impressionable thing to carry on until the next election.
Because it's a problem where your stakeholders all don't want to move. So you got your highway companies saying, I don't want to budge. I don't want to pay extra from my profits into the system. So if you want to charge me more, if you say Touch and Go comes in, sets up all the infrastructure and charges the highway company more, highway company say, I don't want to pay. And I got concession agreement. So you want to take me to court or what? You cannot. Because my agreement says I have to pay for this, I have to do this, I have to do that, but I don't have to pay for your multi-lane free flow. So I'm sure they are ironclad in their concession agreement. Their bankers would have made sure they are ironclad before giving them loan. So the government can't just force them like that. Then you got the technology provider, be it Touch and Go or Plus or other third parties lah. They also don't want to work for free. They must be paid. So who is going to pay them? And I think every time the Works Ministry brings this up to the Finance Ministry will say, we are not paying for it. Why should we pay for it? Just solve it lah. Find a way internally and solve it. And so when you are stuck in a deadlock like this, then you need somebody to break the deadlock. And this is where you need a proactive minister. So I would say that the minister has to be more proactive. I mean, at least for a start, come on the camera. Tell us what you've been doing to break this deadlock between the two parties. Because let's assume that the third party, MOF, is not going to pay a single cent for this. And then your political perception is your fourth party here. If you go the route of increasing toll by 10 cents in order to pay for the system, I think the public will be outraged. And so it's not easy to go down this road of increasing 10 cents, 5 cents, 15 cents to pay for the system. So I would say don't bother to try the increasing toll to pay for the system. Don't bother asking MOF to pay for the system. Come down to this. The highway concession pay for it or the Touch and Go. Did you audit Plus and Touch and Go? Do they really require a higher commission rate than what Touch and Go is getting today to be able to run the system? Really or not? Because if we didn't really audit and you just accept their word for it, that's problematic. So we have never heard of anyone talking whether they have already audited and there really is a higher cost. Problem number one. Problem number two, with the highway concessions, let's say there really is a higher cost. Then solve the thing with the highway concessionaires, sit down and negotiate and use the bully pulpit if you have to, and make a deal. Say no, there's a deadline to make a deal. Make a deal.
Yeah.
If you don't make a deal, we'll bring this, the next parliament sitting, if you don't make a deal, we'll bring a law in parliament compelling you to do it. Then you are bound by law to do it.
Yeah.
Then all the negotiation off the table.
Yeah.
So I threaten you, if by March, the next parliament sitting in March, you don't sign a new deal, we'll bring a law in parliament to solve it.
That's a good idea.
So you nationalize the problem, which has been done before, which can be done, and then they will feel very victimized and outraged. It's okay lah. If you don't want to negotiate and find a win-win solution, then be outraged lah. But it's not that difficult because whatever the money that has to be paid extra for the system, to me, just extend the concession period by 2 years, 1 year, 3 years. It will solve the problem lah.
Yeah.
So they can recoup. Overall, they don't run into losses, and overall, if you ask the public when does NPE concession agreement end? Does anyone know? When does Kesas concession agreement end?
No one knows lah.
No one knows. So you extend another 2-3 years, it's not going to change your political situation. You increase 10 cents, you die lah. But if you extend another 2 more years, nobody will know.
The 10 cent can work during the jam time.
During the jam time lah, but you know
you ask them to
lah.
vote for it during the jam time.
Yeah. That's a T20 answer. T20 can pay 10 cents more to get rid of the jam. But the general public will be like, oh my God, more daylight robbery, So I feel strongly that you need to solve this. And this is where, sometimes PM goes and throws the gauntlet at the minister, solve all the broken toilets. I don't want to have any more schools with broken toilets. The same thing. I think the PM also should step up and tell the Works Minister and even say it publicly. I give you 6 more months.
Okay. This reminds me of what YBNR recently said. Those with a dirty toilet, your restaurant will be closed. No more excuse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something similar to that.
Something
will
similar
be
to
good.
that. I give you 6 more months. If not, an act will come in Parliament. In fact, the way to really muscle this is draft the act today. In next month, show the act to all the highway concessionaires and say that this act will table in March.
Actually, another thing also. I think if they were to tear down the toll, right, they should remove the auto booth so that people can travel. I noticed some, they never removed the toll booth. The toll booth is still there. It's just that the palang not there. Also it costs...
Slow down.
Might as well you just remove it since you're not going to use it.
Must
right?
remove.
So I also don't know why they
Must
like to
remove.
do that.
Yeah.
Maybe remove extra cost. That's why they don't want.
Cost and also time. I mean, when the process of removing, you're going to create problem.
Yeah, for one day
for a few days For a few days
but
One day cannot
Okay, a few days. But
do it.
do it, right?
Do it. I mean, they did it for Federal Highway. They took out all the toll booths eventually. It can be done. I think that's a smaller problem, a cheaper problem, because that's a one-off cost, not the running cost for the next 10, 15, 20 years.
That's right.
All right. So, Peter, do you have anything else you would like to bring up in this episode before we bring it to a close?
I think at the end of the day, the last thing that I want to talk about is actually a school bullying case, which brought to my attention. I think the whole world's attention is on it, right? Yeah. This morning itself, as I head out, once I came back from lunch, I saw another case where Form 5 student in Form 4 student Bandar Utama just got stabbed to death by 2 Form 2 kids, right? And today we are talking about school bullying case number 1, but we're also talking about a more rampant version of a more violent crime, right? Like a rape happening and stuff like that.
I think the rape case in Malacca also was very outrageous. I think everyone's shocked. No one can accept that this is going to be the new norm in our schools. It cannot be.
It's just crazy to see that when the girl didn't even know, and then only when the video circulate, the parents went and reported. It was, it's just crazy, right? And now the whole thing is this, right? And all these people who committed all this crime, they're all juveniles, right? My sister lives in Japan, and it made me pay attention to something in Japan. Is that in Japan there are a lot of this kind of juvenile crime, but it goes unreported. These people are protected, and very often by 21 to 24, they come out back to society again. You do not know what they have done. Some actually will see it as an opportunity of a lifetime to commit a crime, because we always have the perception that children are innocent. But I don't know. I'm not a big believer that teenagers are that innocent now.
I think they should be punished. And there's already juvenile punishment.
Yes.
But they cannot be maybe punished alongside adults in adult prisons. But nonetheless, they cannot be escaping from punishment.
Correct. My point is that it's a very delicate balance. I'm not saying that you're going to announce because someone deserves second chance always. I'm not saying that you're going to announce their name or whatnot. But I think there should be a way to actually increase the level of punishment so that the world will know. And yes, if it involves revealing their name, because you can say that I'm given a second chance, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be paying for somewhat of a penance, right? And again, depending on the degree of the crime that you committed. And so here's where I think that should come into a question of discussion before it's too late. It's kind of like America, right? When they had this whole shooting case, everything all, by then only we will talk about guns law, banning guns and stuff like that. It's a little bit too late to talk about that because it's a whole mature industry altogether, right? But it's rather better you just snap something at the butt itself. Like, for example, in this case, with more and more high school bullying happening, it's time to actually sort of reform, not just MOE side to do something, but rather on the law side, criminal law side, what we can do to be a little bit more heavy-handed so the consequences are higher for juvenile to commit crimes.
I understand that. I think we are both parents of kids who are in school and definitely suffer the risk of being victims themselves if things are not fixed, and definitely it's time to see a step up in action. One of the things that I feel it's really time is for a very black and white code of what is acceptable and not acceptable.
Yep.
I mean, no doubt the murder and the rape is very clearly not acceptable in the black. And in fact, that should be punished. There shouldn't have been even a question of them still being allowed in school, immediate expulsion. In fact, they should be, as rightfully so, remanded. And while not sent to an adult prison, sent to juvenile detention.
Yep.
And they must pay for their crimes.
Yep.
Go through the due process of law, but then you cannot say because under 18 they escape that. But beyond that, the one which always escapes is probably the one which is even more widespread, which is bullying in school.
Yep.
The question is, what is acceptable horsing around in school? What is acceptable behavior in school? And what crosses the line into this is wrong, you will be punished. And I think this line is not very clear. And this line may differ from one family to another family, one kid to another kid, one teacher to another teacher. And I think that ambiguity has to end today.
Yeah.
I think it's time for MOE to release these guidelines of this will be punished, and then everyone who crosses that line into the list of things that will be punished, must be punished. And every teacher must be very clear, this is the line.
Yeah.
If you take RM1 from another student, should you be punished? Or never mind, this is children sometimes, You cannot have this ambiguity anymore.
I think another thing to actually pay attention to is also cyberbullying, because it makes it even more complicated.
It includes that.
Yeah, because like, for example, I was just telling you about this particular show on Netflix called Juvenile, right? What happened was that this school kid was being laughed at by a girl, because the whole story was basically this girl, her friend spread her naked photo.
Oh, okay.
And this boy felt bad for her.
Alright.
So he thought by asking her out, it would make her feel better, like she's being appreciated as a human being again.
Alright.
But instead, she
Laughed at
bullied him and laughed at him, like, who are you to think that you can go out with me?
Yeah.
And so it became, that's how the whole thing unraveled. And a lot of it was about like Gen Z lingos, where like words like incel, this and that, where as the investigators tried to investigate, they actually couldn't understand like emojis, what does it really mean? And so there's a lot of a lot of nuances when it comes to bullying today with social media. So I think it's about time that maybe at the national level, there needs to be some sort of a committee being set up to come up with guidelines, right? So I highly encourage, or I would think that we should do that, not encourage, we should do that.
So I think, funny enough, if you need to make a public comment, I think it's time to announce that the task force that is going to drop these guidelines and give them a urgent deadline. We cannot take forever to do this, but there must be something soon that all teachers, all parents, and all students adhere to, that this is the line. You do not cross this line anymore. You do not, for any circumstances, condone anyone crossing this line. You cannot ever write it off as never mind, it's okay, kids be kids. There must be a line, no more crossing it. Makes the school safe. We need safe schools to move forward. We don't want CC kids, but you cannot use that to say, never mind, let kids be, let them toughen up and all that. No, I think it's gone too far. It's gone too far. There must be a line. Bullying is bullying, and bullying must stop, and punishment must come. And punishment guidelines must also be part of this code. You cross this line, this is the punishment. You cross this line, this is the punishment. And so throughout the country, there must be consistent punishment for consistent actions. So I think that's a very somber note to end our episode, but I think it's nonetheless a very serious thing that we should touch on and cover, and we hope that the minister will take note of this, and in all the things that the ministry has to deal with when it comes to education, I think this probably becomes the number one today. I think nothing else comes close to the number one, and it's time to take this head on. So Fadlina, I hope you take this very seriously, and you respond in the way that everyone is waiting for, that we need to have this clear-cut guidelines. Let's not have any more ambiguity, and so let's have teachers starting to take action, and teachers who fail to take action to protect students. When you are in the know of these things happening and you fail to take action, that also must come into play. I think there's no more letting it off the hook. We do not need a viral video before action is taken. by itself, action must be taken. And if action is not taken, that also must be an offense. All right, Peter, anything else you'd like to add on before we bring this to a wrap?
All right, nothing else. The only last thing is that please be aware of scams.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put a clip in the beginning to warn everyone as well. Over the past 3 to 4 days, I've received calls and people who contact us who tell us that they've lost hundreds of thousands to scam. And how it generally starts is that they see an ad posing as us or other famous people, right? This including people like Anwar and so on, right? Yeah, but they contact me because they saw mine.
Yeah.
So usually it's to tell them that I'm giving some sort of stock tips, lead them into a group, and my assistant will help them to settle everything. And that's when they'll be introduced into a stock group. There's a guru that gives them tips regularly, ask them to download a particular app, and they will learn how to trade with that app. And they will make a lot of money because they begin stock tips and they'll feel that it is their own account.
Okay.
Then eventually they will offer them private placements from big companies. And this whole scam will go on for half a year usually.
Wow.
Not 2 days, half a year, 4 months or half a year, right? Then they will say we are offering private placement for big public listed company that are very well known. And these people will start putting in hundreds of thousands, 200, 300, 400,000. And
Then they find that all the money is gone.
yep. And that's when they'll reach out to us.
All right.
Yeah. So many of them actually snap out halfway when they were trying to squeeze more. Like, so usually the case is they were trying to top up. They were trying to add more. Yeah. And then they come to a point where like, maybe I should withdraw some first before I add more. Then they will call us already.
Okay.
So it's quite bad. I heard some blame us,
Okay.
which I can only sympathize with them. I mean, we have already made all the police report. We have put up our notification regularly. I feel bad for them. But some were, like really, they don't blame us. But yeah, so there was one that literally, I also cried. Yeah, because she was telling me that's the money for a daughter, right?
Yeah.
But she don't blame us. She was very nice to us. Actually, most of them don't blame us. There's only particular one or two who, yeah, because it's so obvious. You will be led to transfer money into private accounts. Yeah.
I think that's a very big red flag.
Yes, but they are already under so much of grooming.
I think
right?
just to be safe, like just don't respond to these advertisements.
Yes.
All advertisements on social media, just be very careful.
Yeah. If anyone tell you to, okay, if it comes up from anything from us, right?
Yeah.
Usually number one is a regulated platform.
Yeah.
So please go and check where I see. Yeah, there's a regulated platform. Number two, we'll never ask you to transfer money into any private accounts. Nor will we ask you for money. Yeah. So please don't.
Okay.
Yeah, just remember that.
All right. A very timely advice. I think that's where we bring our episode to an end. So hope you've enjoyed this. Please leave us your comments. And if you have any questions you'd like us to cover in the coming episodes, please ask away. All right, Peter, time to sign off.
All right. See you guys next week.
See you guys.